Okay, so that generally going to cause some side effect. That means something from outside can modify my data. So if I have a mutator, that means somebody somewhere can call that mutator method and they can modify stuff from my object. So that's generally the side effect of my mutator methods. So this is something, okay, I put down some general style at the bottom of the modules, and I am throwing the links to them once in a while, but it's a good idea to look at them. It's from end of your book. So one of the things that I want to be sure that we understand and we follow, especially if you're coming from CS2, is if I have a parameter in my method, I'm not going to modify my parameters. So whatever I'm passing into as a parameter, I'm not going to modify my parameter. I can create a temporary variable, I can work with it, but I'm not going to modify my variable. Especially you got to think about it, that most of the things that are happening in Java are classes. So most of them are passed by their address. So most of them, you are able to change them inside your method. But the rule of thumb is we don't want to do it. Why don't we want to do it? Because if I pass something to your method, and after your method, I want to use it, I want to be sure that whatever went through this method is going to stay the same after the method. So if I want to modify something, I'm going to have a return value that I can use it to assign it to something else. I'm not going to modify the parameters. That's a general rule that we need to practice. Again, there is a lot of information in this chapter, and I want you guys to do extra reading. You don't understand it, let's talk about it. These are very, very important. It has to stay with you for a long period of time. Any questions so far? So I have this array list coming in. So I have an array list as a parameter. And I don't want to change this array list. So if I am doing any kind of changes in here to this array list, that means after I call this get total balance, my array list has changed. And that can cause some inconsistency inside my program. So somebody somewhere called this method and my array list has changed and I'm not aware of it, that it has been changed. And then I'm going to use it somewhere else and I'm using a change array list. So how do I fix this? I don't want to modify the accounts that's coming into me. How do I do that? How do I fix that issue? Are you guys on the same page with me? Do you understand what I'm talking about? If it's not clear, let's talk about it.
What are we trying to minimize ultimately?
Okay, so the accounts is coming in as array list. The account is coming in as array list. In general, we do not want to change the parameter value. But in here, I have a remove 0, which is removing what? The first element of my account. And because it's in this while loop, it's going to keep changing it. That means the accounts that come in after this method is going to be totally different than what it came in. So how can we guarantee that this accounts, array list accounts, is going to stay the same after this method is done?
We make a temporary copy of the array list using the given copy, or we can manually copy it into a temporary array list using a loop of some sort.
Good. So if we want to modify this, we're going to create a temporary one, and the temporary one, if we need to return it, we can return it. But in this case, we don't need to return it. So we just need to do the sum. That could happen for the ones that you guys were doing in array listing in last assignment, that if you wanted to find the maximum, the customer, the highest, the best customer, whatever it was called, then some of you would remove the best customer to get to the second best customer. So that means that you were modifying your array list. So at that time, you would have lost the first or best customer. So that's the instances that we're going to be careful about. So again, if I have a printer statement, that is a side effect because I'm going to be depending to this one. I am not free from input output. So in this case, this class only going to work if I have the user in front of the computer looking at the screen. So I cannot run this class in a program that's going to be run in the middle of the night. So that is the dependency that we generally don't want. So we are not going to be using that print. I like this one. So the side effect of the taxi is spraying the bystanders with the muddy water. So we can have side effects. We want to remove those things.